Tatenda, Rungisa.
My name is Nozipho Matumbu. I'm a legal practitioner and partner with Mazango Matumbu and Partners Legal Practitioners. Thank you so much for this opportunity to have this conversation with you, Tatenda, especially in this Women's Month, where we are celebrating women, womanhood, and all things womanly under this year's theme of digital innovation and technology for gender equality. I believe that this year's theme, it speaks to a celebration of women and girls like you, Tatenda, who are occupying digital space and leading digital education and transformative technology. My topic today is on the laws that every woman should know. So what am I saying, Tatenda? I'm saying that in this information age, or in this digital era, no one, and more importantly, no woman has an excuse for being ignorant on important issues that affect them, because information is now at our fingertips. You see, for me, information and knowledge is power, and an empowered woman is an asset to her society, especially because women, they are multipliers and they are sharers. So, because of that very nature, when you educate a woman, you've actually educated a whole community and the nation at large. I believe that women are simply amazing. And I'm a fan of Maya Angelou, and right now I'm reminded of one of her quotes, where she says that every time that a woman stands up for herself without knowing it and possibly without claiming it, she stands up for all women. So some of the functions of law in our society are to regulate and govern people's lives and to bring about order and harmony in society. And because of this, I'm sure you've realized that laws, they actually permeate every aspect of our existence. So within the confines of the time that has been allocated to me, allow me to navigate swiftly through as many laws as I can that I believe a woman should be aware of. So the supreme law of the land, Tatenda, that is our constitution. What does it say about women? The constitution says that a woman, and every woman, has full and equal dignity with men. And this means that they have equal opportunities, or they are to have equal opportunities, whether it is in social activities or political activities or economic activities. So women's rights are actually enshrined in our constitution, which goes on to say that women have the same rights relating to custody and guardianship of children. And also the constitution outlaws every law, every custom, every cultural practice or tradition that violates the rights of women that it confers. So women's rights, they are basically human rights. And all that I'm saying in this month is that we appreciate men's rights and nothing more. But we want women's rights and nothing less. So women should be aware, for example, of laws relating to property. Laws such as the Deed Registry Act, which states that the owner of a property is the person in whose name it is registered. The writing of a person's name on a title deed, it confers real rights upon that person, which are actually enforceable against the whole world, So gone are the days when women were not allowed to own property in their names, when they were regarded as children or as inferior citizens. Nowadays, women are not only allowed, but they are actually encouraged and even advised to own property in their own names. After all, they have the legal capacity to do so. And they must be aware of the importance of having their names included in title documents, not only as witnesses or as next of kin, Tatenda, but as owners and co-owners. You see, women should be aware of issues to do with estate planning, These things are important. They must know how to safeguard their assets, whether it is through anti-nuptial contracts or it is through different vehicles of property ownership, such as artificial persons, when you create companies which then hold property, or where you register family trusts, which you then use as vehicles of property ownership. So when we look at laws that pertain to marriage, whether it is the Marriages Act or the Matrimonial Causes Act, etc., regardless of whether one is married, was married, or will be married in the future, these laws, they affect women in one way or the other, whether directly or indirectly. And one must be aware of the types of marriages that are available, the types of marriages that they are in, that they have chosen, and the legal implications of such. For example, Tatenda, the civil marriage is a monogamous institution which allows only for one husband and one wife, whilst the customary law marriage is one where it is potentially polygamous. So, for example, the issue of entering into a customary law marriage, which is potentially polygamous, and then crying foul when the spouse decides to take another wife, it arises from a position where a person would not have been aware of the implications of entering into such a type of a marriage. In the workplace, Tatenda, women are there and they are affected by laws, by labor laws, and especially on issues of sick leave, of maternity leave, and the issues surrounding payment of their salaries through or during such periods, the breastfeeding hours, those provisions. Women are affected by such issues like sexual harassment, in the workplace, and they need to know their rights and the available protection should such issues arise. Some other laws that women should be aware of, they pertain to inheritance. They pertain whether it is to the wills, writing wills, drafting wills, whether it is, the importance of actually putting a person's wishes in writing, to say, after I am gone, I wish that this would happen to my property. How is that important? How does that help a woman? Issues pertaining to deceased estates, registration, deceased persons, family maintenance act, where we're saying that the dependence of a deceased person, they must be maintained. And how do women go about these things? Tatenda, no woman in this day and age should be stripped of property that has been acquired during a spouse's lifetime. It is simply unacceptable. So women should know how to obtain assistance. For example, where the spouse's relatives refuse to recognize them as spouses. Such issues do arise. And it is actually critical to realize even the benefits of the relief of the civil partnerships when it is properly applied. Also, Tatenda, women are in the business arena. They do business. And whether it is a woman who wants to do business, who is already in business, they should be aware with such laws as the Companies and Other Business Entities Act. They should be aware of the tax laws. They should know that they can register their own companies, that they can obtain tax clearance, even as individuals, instead of losing their earnings, because of withholding tax, just because they don't have tax clearances when they do business. They should be aware of such things and they should be compliant. Tatenda, another issue that is affecting our society and women in particular, and especially relates to domestic violence or gender-based violence. And I believe that it is important for women to know that, the Domestic Violence Act in Section 3, it widely defines violence. Violence should not be taken only as being physical, and women should be aware that it actually includes even a threat. It's not only the act, but also the threat of physical abuse, physical violence, sexual abuse, emotional, verbal, psychological abuse, intimidation, harassment, economic abuse, stalking, damage to property, such things. Usually women, they take it that no, if someone is not physically hurting me, then they are not being violent. But our laws, they actually have a wide conception and interpretation of domestic violence, which covers a lot, issues such as virginity testing, genital mutilation, forced marriages, all those things, they fall under the definition of domestic violence, and it is important, in as much as some of these types of violence may not constitute offenses in terms of the act, but it is important, it is vital for women to be aware that violence is not only physical, but even the non-physical types of violence, they are actually as painful and as dangerous as physical violence. Women should not be stranded, but they must be aware that they can report such acts or threats, or even obtain protection orders, peace orders, and such like. Laws regarding rape, they should be known to women, whether it is their own rape or the rape of their daughters, the sodomization of their sons. Women should protect themselves and their children or wards. They should report these perpetrators. Tatenda, they should not feel threatened or intimidated or turn a blind eye, but they should actually do all that they can, to fight, for example, child marriages. They should actually be in the forefront of protecting their children and empowering their children. Also, Tatenda, I believe another important issue, or another important thing that women should take seriously, is the issue of the identity of their children. Everyone has a right to an identity, and women must ensure that they obtain birth certificates for their children, as soon as possible. Women must not have to wait, for schools to demand these documents. If anything happens to them before the children have these birth certificates, this actually causes difficulties for the children, which can be avoided. And now, Tatenda, women can even obtain these documents without the fathers of the children, should they not wish to be involved. So it is actually now easier. So I believe, in a nutshell, these are some of the laws that women should be aware of. And my time is up, but I really appreciate the opportunity to use technology and innovation for gender equality. And for those that want to contact me, or that may want to contact me, I think the easiest way is through my app number, which is 0772 525 782. Thank you, Tatenda.